What's up, everybody? This is your boy T-Dubs back again, never stopping, never quitting. And I want to let y'all know that this is the T-Dubs Show. And be sure to check out my show as well as others on the Exquisite Podcast Radio Network. All right, now let's get into the show here. Today's topic, long awaited, regain your authority. Now, why am I doing this topic? What's the purpose for this topic, T-Dubs? Well, let me explain it to you. The importance of regaining your authority and knowing that you have authority in the first place is because in the spiritual realm, they know that there's a possibility that you can have authority over them. That's why they're constantly attacking us. That's why we're constantly being under surveillance. That's why we always have the enemy on our backs, because he knows that we have this kind of power, and he wants to keep us from attaining this kind of power. He wants to keep us from knowing who we are. That's why I had on the fourth show, I said who you are, the big four. Now, this goes into detail. This is the importance of knowing, because you have authority with knowing who you are and whose you are. You have authority with those two. You have the ability to cast out demonic forces. You have the ability to rebuke certain things. You have the ability to speak over certain situations. You have the ability in your mind to actually to ignore situations. You can ignore things to where you can have peace during your storm. You can cast out demonic forces in people. You can cast out demonic forces in your household. You don't have to sit here and deal with depression. You don't have to sit here and deal with suicidal thoughts. You don't have to sit here and be bound by those things. That's why it says you accept Jesus, you're free indeed. So you don't have to lay down and take it. You don't have to lay down and take what you're going through. You can still enjoy your life. That's why I did a video on Facebook recently called Enjoy the Ride. You can enjoy your life and still be going through things. People do it all the time. People find ways to enjoy their lives all the time. You look at how people enjoy themselves in the good old days. They played games, they went hunting, they went fishing, they did all kind of things and different activities to enjoy themselves, even though they didn't have a whole lot of money. They didn't have a whole lot going for them in certain areas, as far as financial, as far as they may not have the best house to live in, but they still enjoyed themselves. They still enjoyed their lives because they understood this concept. But that's part of that. That's part of a way of living. That's how you know that you have certain authority over your life. You don't have to be miserable just because you don't have the best life. You don't have to be miserable just because certain spirits are around you. You don't have to take on every spirit. You don't have to take on every burden. You can actually have control over your situation. You can have control over your feelings. You can have control over your emotions. You don't have to, get mad every time somebody talks to you crazy, or get mad every time somebody acts funny towards you. Or you don't have to get mad or get depressed or get weighed down because things aren't going in your favor. You don't have to respond those ways. You don't have to react in those kind of ways, because being that you have authority, you can respond without reacting in those kind of ways. You can respond to it, be like, I'm not gonna let this get to me. I'm not gonna let this get me down. I'm not gonna let this day get to me. I'm not going to be miserable this day. I'm not gonna be mad. I don't care what happens today. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not gonna let this upset me. Whatever burden that you're dealing with, whatever pain that you're dealing with, you don't have to be bound by your sickness. You can declare healing in Jesus' name, because by his stripes you're free. So you don't have to sit here and take the sickness, whatever sickness that you have, whatever grief that you're going through, whatever misery that you're dealing with. You can declare peace in your life. You can speak peace into your life. You don't have to accept those things. That's why I say the only hell out here is the hell that we put ourselves through. I'm talking about as far as living standards, but we all know the hell is real. But the living standards, while you're alive, you don't have to go through hell. You don't have to sit here and deal with hell while you're alive. You're not obligated to go through hell. You're not obligated to, because there are trials you have to go through. He says his yoke is easy and his burden is light. That don't sound like hell to me. You have to go through things. You have to go through the burdens and through the yokes, but you don't have to go through hell. We put ourselves through hell because of our mentality. We think that we have to go through hell. We think that we have to feel a certain way because some things are going wrong. We think we have to feel a certain way because somebody came at us wrong, because somebody talked bad to us, because somebody disrespected us. But let me tell you something. You don't have to respond to those situations in that way. It's how you entertain that situation. You can say God bless you and keep it going. You don't have to You don't have to let that stuff get into your spirit, because you don't have to allow that stuff to seep down into you, because if once it gets in you, it starts to affect your whole entire day, and now your whole day is messed up. But I'm going to take a short break here, and we're going to finish this conversation, as I always say. And don't go anywhere, because I will be back.
A billion years ahead, this whole world will be nothing. There's a joy that is coming like the morning. Nothing that we've left will compare to this new song. Hearts united in freedom, and this sounds like ripped out. On my way home. Hey, why little bad, let's lift out. On my way home. No reminiscing, I will not babble. On my way home. Don't dwell on the past unless it's gospel. Let's go. My life ain't feel skippy, come feel tripping if you don't believe me. My life is a war zone, no meal till you nothing's coming easy. I got a lot of bad burns, I got a few sad wounds, bullet holes in my L1s. I be done without that song. Yeah, I lost a few loved ones. I enjoyed a lot of good times. Feet tired for the journey, but my heart's know that's a good sign. Oh no, won't be stopping my pilgrimage uptown. Oh no, I made it way too high up to come down. Somebody told me I ain't gotta pack no license daily. Somebody told me ain't no joy that I want that I can't get. Life as we know it would change. I'm in it there with my gang to be with the lamb who was slain. A billion years ahead, this whole world will be nothing. There's a joy that is coming like the morning. Nothing that we've left will compare to this new song. Hearts united in freedom, and this sounds like oh, we out here mobbing, we do things violent and vicious, screw fangs, violent and wicked fools, man. We get the top of the food chain, cannibalizing our crews, daily is dudes slain. Murderers thinking they know, if you don't think it's true, ask my dude Kane. Tell me how civilized is a world where the killer thrives. Darker victims villainized, then authorities ill-advised. The snake in his venom is our Linus, no immunized. We need a Jonah, we Ninevites, still the prize. The Lion of Judah, he came. The sun set down in our world, and still he reigns. Our infatuation with killing intended to him, he was slain. All that he made would get his redemption is finally reclaimed. We'll sing. Somebody told me won't need a shoulder to weep on, no more tears. Somebody told me I ain't gotta hold no heat, ain't no more fears. Life as we know it will change. Don't need no pills, ain't no pain. Ain't no successor, forever he reigns. A billion years ahead, this whole world will be nothing. There's a joy that is coming like the morning. Nothing that we've left will compare to this new song. Hearts united in freedom, and this sounds like
All right, now welcome back to the T-Dub Show. And where we left off, we were talking about the importance of having your authority in the earth and in the spirit realm, and that we can actually have power over our situations and over the spiritual forces around us. And now you even actually have authority over your past. Yeah, you have authority over the things that happened to you, the things that you've experienced in your past life. Let's say you were abused, say if you were molested, let's say if those things happened to you in the past, you have authority over those situations as well, because a lot of things can come up, like the enemy knows your past as well as your present and even your future. So sometimes he'll bring your past up to trigger certain things in you to keep you living in the past, so you won't recognize your destiny, so you won't reach your destiny, so you won't walk into your destiny, so you won't go into what God has called you to be, so you won't live up to your full potential. But let me tell you this here, you have authority over that. Whoever you were, once you accept Christ in your life, you're a new creature. So you don't have to dwell in the past. You don't have to live your life based off what happened to you, or based off what you've done, or based off what, near-death experiences, things like that, or based off what your relatives may have done to you. You don't have to be a victim all your life. You may have suffered this for that time, for that specific time, but you don't have to deal with that now, because today you're a new creature. Once you've accepted Jesus in your life, he's taken on all of those burdens, so you no longer have to dwell in those things. You no longer have to dwell on the fact that you were abused. You no longer have to dwell on the fact that you were verbally abused, that you were molested, that you had certain things going on in your past, had certain demonic forces attacking you in the past. You don't have to dwell on those things anymore, because you now have authority over these things, because you've accepted Jesus in your life. So now he is with you. You don't have to be burdened by those things. You can cast those spirits out. You can cast those thoughts out. You can rebuke those thoughts. You can move forward in your life. You are a new creature. You are not that person anymore, but the enemy would try to remind you that you're the same person, that you're in the same place that you were. But in actuality, God is about promotion. He's about progress. So every day of your life that you live, that you're that you're covered under the blood of Jesus, you have been making progress. So you are a long way from what you used to be. You are not who you used to be anymore. You don't have to accept those things. You don't have to accept what you were called back then. You don't have to accept what you were back then. You don't have to accept who you were back then. You don't have to accept the things that you did back then. You don't have to accept who did certain things to you back then. You can forgive yourself. You can forgive those people, and you can also move on with your life. You have that authority. You have that authority in your life over certain spirits, over certain times, over certain actions that you even are tempted to do now today. Even things that you may have been delivered from, you may be tempted to do these things now, but you have authority. You have a power of choice. That's why God gave us the power of choice. We can choose to do, and we can choose not to do. We have the power not to do certain things that will lead us back into our past. We have the authority to move forward. We have authority to keep going in God, to keep persevering, to not live a life of sin, to not dwell on our past, and not dwell on our past mistakes. We have this authority. We don't have to surrender to these things. The only person that we have to submit to is Jesus Christ. We submit to him, and he takes these burdens off of us. Once we allow him to sign our names in the book of life, once he signs everything that we've done wrong in his blood, it's over with. We don't have to keep going back and forth. We don't have to keep going 3 years back, or 20 years back, or 10 years back. We can accept him now and move forward from that day. And every time you repent, you are made a new creature. You don't have to keep going backwards. You don't have to sit down and feel sorry for yourself. You don't have to dwell in depression. You don't have to dwell in misery. You don't have to dwell in jealousy, because what God has for you is for you. So there's no need for you to be jealous over anyone. That gives you the power and authority over being jealous of someone else, over something that God has for somebody else. You don't have to be jealous of somebody else's wife or husband or anything like that, because God has somebody for you, and everyone has their time. Everyone has their time and their season to be blessed. So you don't have to sit here and wonder why you're not getting blessed when everyone else is getting blessed, and wonder why certain things aren't happening when they're happening for everybody else. You don't have to figure those things out, because God has his own and specific time for you. You don't have to sit around and be depressed because things are not going your way, because God has his time and his season for you. You can still enjoy your life even though you don't have those things, because Just because you have not received those things don't mean that you don't have those things. Don't mean that God has forgotten about you. It doesn't mean those things. It doesn't mean that you were forgotten. It doesn't mean that you're never going to receive it, because he is going to give it to you, but it has to be the right time. It has to be the right specific time and place, because if not, then you're going to mess it up. You're going to ruin what he has for you, and he's not going to let that happen. He's not going to allow you to go down the wrong path with what he has for you. He wants you to be blessed with it, so he wants you to have it in abundance. So basically, so you can use it to its full capacity. He wants you to be mentally prepared for it. So you have to put in your mind, hey, this is already mine. Everything that God has ordained for me is already mine. So all I have to do now is have faith and forget about it and enjoy the ride. But that is my time. Next week, I'm going to talk about the different ways you can gain authority. If you live for God, believe in what he say, he is going to take you a mighty long way. Y'all be blessed. I love y'all.